Let's talk about one of history's greatest magic tricks. How did a controversial 16th century physician pull off the ultimate act of alchemy? And I'm not talking about turning lead into gold. I'm talking about transforming a mortal man, himself, into an immortal myth. So, what we're really diving into here is the story of Theophrastus von Hohenheim, who we all know better as Paracelsus. This is how he became this recurring ghost in the machine of Western thought. Seriously, he's a figure who still haunts that mysterious line where science meets the soul, and his story is just one of incredible, world-changing rebellion. To really get a handle on his indestructible legacy, we first need a story. You should think of it as the key that unlocks this whole mystery, the parable of the eternal lantern. Okay, so picture this. Our story starts with a lone wanderer who carves a simple lantern from a single piece of flint, and then he makes this almost unbelievable claim. As long as this light is carried forward, the darkness of the forest will never be able to fully close in. Well, eventually, the wanderer himself just steps into the deepest shadows and is never seen again. But his lantern, it's still there. And a young traveler who stumbles upon it discovers something absolutely miraculous. The flame inside is burning with this impossible life, and it's not using any oil. And this is where it gets really wild. Every single time a new person picks up the lantern, its light just flares up with this renewed intensity. It starts illuminating paths that had been hidden for generations, showing the way forward when everything seemed completely lost. And in that moment, it all clicks. Everyone finally understood. The wanderer hadn't really vanished at all. He had done some kind of alchemy, infusing his very spirit, his undying essence, right into the flint and the spark itself. You see, this lantern is the myth of Paracelsus. It's a guiding light, an idea so powerful, it just keeps on burning long after the man who created it has turned to dust. So, come on, let's follow this light and see where it takes us through history. So, where did this strange light first pop up? Well, the first place it illuminated was the world of literature. Its glow basically provided the blueprint for a powerful new kind of character, an archetype that honestly we still see everywhere today. The life of Paracelsus literally became the template for what we call the forbidden seeker. I mean, think about it. Any story about a Faustian bargain, or the creation of synthetic life, or the dangerous ego of a creator who dares to play God, in every single mad scientist or misunderstood wizard, you can totally see the long shadow of the Swiss alchemist. You can draw a straight line here, it's incredible. Paracelsus was obsessed with creating the homunculus, a tiny, artificial human he genuinely believed could be grown from, well, human seed, kept in the warmth of a horse's womb. This bizarre alchemical dream becomes the literary nightmare of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which grapples with the exact same moral questions about the ethical lines you cross when you create life. But the lantern was passed on again. This time, it landed in the hands of people exploring the human psyche, and they looked at Paracelsus's ancient alchemical maps and saw something absolutely startling, a guide to the subconscious mind. Fast forward to the 20th century, and this is where a guy named Carl Jung comes into the picture. He completely reinterpreted the work of Paracelsus. Jung didn't see some failed magician trying to make gold. No, he saw one of the very first modern thinkers trying to chart the vast, unexplored territory of the human soul. Jung realized that the whole alchemical process was a perfect metaphor for our own psychological journey. First, he said, you separate, you analyze all the different parts of your personality. Then you recombine, you integrate all those pieces into a balanced whole. And the final goal, the legendary Philosopher's Stone, it wasn't some rock that made gold. It was achieving a fully integrated whole self. And with that interpretation, Jung basically embedded the myth of Paracelsus deep into the language of modern mental health. He became this ghost within our own minds, a symbol of that eternal human quest to find order and meaning inside the chaos of our own internal elements. Okay, let's bring this right into the present day, because that lantern's glow, well, it's brighter now than ever, and it's illuminating our movie screens, our video games, and our graphic novels. In pop culture, Paracelsus has become the patron saint of the outsider scientist. You know the type. He's the rebel working in a private lab, the master of hidden knowledge who challenges authority and just refuses to take no for an answer from the universe. This brilliant, kind of dangerous curiosity is a character we all recognize instantly. His legacy has really been boiled down into this powerful cultural symbol. His name itself is now basically shorthand for a very specific kind of genius, the kind that operates on the fringes and somehow ends up changing the entire course of human destiny. And through all these modern stories, his influence just keeps dispensing wonder to a global audience. Which, of course, brings us to the biggest question of all. What is the true nature of this undying flame? Why is this idea, this eternal lantern, so completely indestructible? His true, lasting legacy is something we call the Paracelsian synthesis. He did something absolutely revolutionary for his time. He merged the mystical with the empirical. He combined the spiritual search for God with the rigorous, hands-on study of minerals and medicine. In doing that, he created a framework that was way ahead of its time, really, crafting the very air that modern science now breathes. So, after this incredible journey through literature, psychology, and modern culture, what's his final transformation? What did all of this alchemical work ultimately create? The actual man, Theophrastus von Hohenheim, was completely and totally sublimated into the legend of Paracelsus. He achieved the immortality he was so desperately searching for, not with a magic potion, but through the sheer force of his brilliant, defiant personality. That was his real philosopher's stone. And his ghost, it still haunts us. You can almost hear it whispering in every hospital, every laboratory, and every classroom. It's this constant reminder that the impossible isn't really a barrier. It's just a formula that we haven't found yet. You know, the parable of the eternal lantern is, when you get right down to it, our own story. We are all children of his alchemy, constantly trying to turn the lead of our mortality into the gold of an enduring story, a legacy that's going to outlive us. He reminds us that the human quest for knowledge is absolutely unstoppable, and that each of us, in our own small way, is just that, a brief spark, trying our very best to light up the universe.